on when you're graphing logarithms, I already did that long video, but let me remind you on this that you can't take the log of 0. So figure out what makes this 0, which in this case it would be 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So 1 is your asymptote. So I went ahead and put a dotted line through 1. Also, remember that all logarithmic graphs look like this. They look like that. I just say there's this little snake hiding under the ground. It's hugging your asymptote. It's peeking its little ugly head up. So it goes up, but it goes up really slow. So they look like this. And I don't know if you remember this from the other video, but they all go through this typical standard one. Goes through this point, 1, 0, and then they come up really slow, and then they go down. And this makes this point go up 3 and to the right 1. So like here's the magic point. Notice if I go to the right 1 and up 3, I actually have a point right there. Now, if that stresses you out, notice over here I just picked some points, and you can use your calculator or whatever, but I like this value to be 5. So that's why I plugged in 6, because 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay, I also chose 2 because 2 minus 1 is 1, and I love it when I can take the log of 1. Remember, the log of 1 is 0, and 0 plus 3 is 3. So then, whatever your asymptote is, it's 1. Plug in something really, really close to 1. I chose 6/5 because my base was 5. But if you want to, it has to be bigger than 1, but if you just want to use your calculator and try like 1.1, then in your calculator, I'm going to plug in 1.1, hit this. Hit the log of 1.1 minus 1, because that's what it says. Divide it by the log of 5, and then add 3. And then see what you get, and then just kind of round that off a little bit. So you can kind of see what your graph is going to look like. Okay? So all of these are going to look like that. So let me do one more here. Let's see here. Which one should we do? I know I want to do number 12 with you, but let's do this one. My papers are falling apart. Okay. My asymptote here would be 2, because that's what makes this 0. So before I do anything else, I'm going to put this dotted line right here in 2. So it looks like that. Okay, then you could plug in some points. And so, by the way, I asked you to find the domain, the range, and the asymptote. So my asymptote is the line x equals 2, because that's what makes it 0, and it can't be 0. My domain, this is no coincidence, but it goes from 2 to infinity, because it's going to stay on this side. My range is always all real numbers, because it's going to go up and down. So without doing too much, I know it's going to look something like this, but it's going to shift. In fact, I know it's going to go up 1 and to the right 2. But let's just plot in a couple of points real quick. One of my favorite points would probably be an 8. Why? Because 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay? So that's why I chose 8. Pick anything you want. Use your calculator. Get a nasty decimal. I don't really care. But if I put in 8, I get 6. The log of 6, base 6 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I have this point right here. Okay? Another one of my favorite points might be 3. Because 3 minus 2 is 1, and hopefully you know that the log of 1 is always 0. Nobody cares about your base. So this would be 0 plus 1 is 1. So I have the point 3, 1. So I already can see I've got this nice, it's not a straight line, it's a curve going up. And then I know enough about the logarithmic function to know it's going to come down here and hug my asymptote. Okay? If I wanted to plug in something, I'd plug in something really, really, really close to 2. Now, you know me. I would probably want this value to be 1/6. But why? Why even mess with that? So just plug in like 2.1, okay? And I'll show you in your calculator how you could do that. Let me turn on my calculator here. Okay. If I was going to do that, remember, I would hit my fraction button right here. And I would put in, I'm going to try 2.1 because that's really close to 2. I'm going to hit the log of 2.1 minus 2. So watch this. The log of 2.1 minus 2, and I'm going to close those parentheses. I'm going to arrow down.